Okay. It's been raining all night. It's going to rain all day, it looks like. Fortunately, I'm out of here. No, I'm not in a tent. My ground cloth. I did the right thing and flipped it over. Made it into a shelter last night. Using my trekking pole as my tent pole. Some parachute cord I always carry. It kept me dry all night long. We'll be in the desert. It's been raining non-stop since about 8 o'clock last night. So I'm going to pack her up in the rain and head on out. It's been a good trip. Okay, if you're wondering, after looking at that video, was it a post-mortem video? Did somebody find my remains like that coyote or javelina head I found in the creek bed? Nope, I made it out. And I'm back home in my recliner. View's not as good as I had out there, but I'm back. If you're wondering, did I meet anybody on the trail? The very last minute I did. After 4 days, saw nobody. That last night, after I pitched my little shelter, 2 guys come traipsing up the trail. They were trucking pretty hard because they were headed for their cache box to get their water. And I kind of thought I might, if there was any chance of seeing anybody, it'd probably be them, because as I came in, I looked in that box and there was some water in there with the date of 11/5. So I knew somebody'd be hiking the Dotson Trail. So they got their water, I guess. Well, the next morning when I woke up, all that rain and everything else, I walked by the Homer Ranch. They were inside. I could hear them. One of them mentioned they saw a hiker. That's all I heard. So I hiked on up the trail, up to the overlook of the road in my car. I was loading my gear. All of a sudden, one of them popped over the ridge. And he had this puzzled look on his face. Kind of knew what it was. Been there before. So I said, "Hey, you need a ride?" He says, "Yes." Okay. So I was going to give him a ride up to the basin where he can get his truck, come back and get his buddy. His buddy was still packing up and didn't want to come, because they decided they were finished for the day themselves. Now what they'd done the night before, they cooked their dinner, had their water, and then headed out on up the Blue Creek Trail, which goes from the bottom, Homer Ranch, all the way up to the basin, like 3,000 feet, 2,000 feet, in 6 miles. They were doing this in the dark with their headlamps, but it was raining. They got halfway up, and they decided they better bail out of that, because they'd also read, it's the first time to do it, and they'd read it's pretty steep, so they didn't want to be falling off any ledge up there in the upper reaches. So they came back to Homer, crashed, they said, just leaning with their sleeping bags around their shoulders in the building till they heard me walk by in the morning. The significance of this is, all right, these are the only 2 guys I met, and these 2 guys, the one I met and drove with, took me to his car, Oscar, he'd been in the military, and the military paid his way to med school. He'd finished med school, and now had been stationed in San Antonio. He was a psychiatrist. The other thing was, while I was in the military, he was a ranger. So these guys were doing their thing out there, and they even had a little bit of trouble. But they got through it, and they bailed out at the last moment and finished. And it just shows there's just not a whole lot of folks that do that trail. But when you do it, it's not a matter of what you're doing, it's just what you see along the way. And that's what I tried to show in some of the video, the various flowers, reptiles, bugs, spiders, birds, and the beautiful pools when there's water out there. Now don't be fooled, the water's not out there all the time. It was a little bit, picked it just right, cool weather and water. So good trip, and I'll have to go back to finish other parts of it.